Hey, before you start this video, apologies for my lack of skills putting all these different video formats into a timeline. I don't know what I'm doing with Premiere, but I'm working on it. It's in the content though, right? So please enjoy. New Year's Day last year, I found this incredible serpent wall. I woke up that day and I said, I need to find something new today. And I just headed out. I drove to a place that I've had my eye on for a while, the top of a big hill, the tallest hill around. And I stopped the truck. All of a sudden was met by this mysterious angry dog who turned out to be super sweet and led me right to this place, this 150-foot long serpent wall. It was really incredible. I will be going back to this site for sure. Next thing I found, just wandering into the bush, I was on my Suron this time, is this crazy eroded stone. Now, this stone was right at 220 meters, which would have been the shore of the ancient Champlain Sea. You can imagine those waves lapping up against this and eroding it over thousands of years. So when I found this, I thought there's got to be something around there. They probably built right on the shore, even though I usually find them at much higher altitudes, you know, usually above 240 meters up to 310 meters. But this was right down there at the limit where you don't find them below. But I started looking around and I found just an amazing site. This huge wall, 4 feet tall but about 8 feet wide, and I did make a video about this site because it was really something. Lots of cairns, lots of structures, lots of infrastructure, retaining wall, terracing type things that would have overlooked the sea. And so this I thought was a really special site. There were lots of big structures like this one. So I made a video about that, and you'll see that the erosion stone as the thumbnail on that. But I'm going to go back to it because I didn't get enough time there, and there was so much there. The next thing I found was in a deep ride off trail in the bush in this big old growth forest where there was never farming. I know that for a fact. Not that that's actually a thing anymore about what these are or where they came from, but we found this. Look at Eric on that massive serpent wall there. It's perfectly rounded and it's got this consistent form, shape. It's one of the most beautiful ones I've ever found. I'm definitely going back to this one to make an extensive video. I'm going to bring a drone. I really want to capture the perfection of that perfect, like, 3-turn intentioned serpent wall, and it had this interesting hammerhead shaped at one end. No stones on either end. You can see it here. It's just meandering so beautifully, and then these perfectly rounded ends on each side. We spent a bit of time there, but I thought I'm definitely going to go back to capture this because just about half a kilometer away, we rode off again through the trail, just crashing through bush and stuff, and about half a kilometer away we found another long wall. Now this one was more straight. It's hard to, you know, imagine why they make such intentioned curvy ones and then straight ones, but you know, they have these straight ends that this one was around I think 50 to 70 feet. So it doesn't make sense as anything practical. Of course, they have these perfect ends, but I'm definitely going back to this site because it was really interesting finding stuff right in the middle of deep old growth forest. It was really the year of the Suron. We kind of went everywhere. It's turned out to be like the most powerful tool in exploring and finding stuff because you can cover just miles and miles of territory off trail, go anywhere. It's just it's fantastic. And mind you, it's super fun. One of the sites I found is just this sole cairn structure. Can't say cairn. But you never find just one, right? And this one I found because there was a cat in the middle of a dirt road and ran up into the bush, and I just followed it. brought me right here. I didn't know whose land it was, so I didn't spend too much time there, but I definitely want to figure it out and go back there because I know that there's more cairns. This, I mean, some people call it a turtle effigy. It's got that big stone and then sort of a whole rounded back full of these smaller stones. So that was exciting. It was another one that I have to return to. The next thing I found was, or site I found, was something an area I've been thinking about for a long time because it's just south of my land. It's got these beautiful hills. I always felt sure there was something there, and here we go. Look at this crazy enclosure. It's actually like a wall enclosure. So I haven't seen that before, really. It's about 3 or 4 feet tall. I'm here with my buddy John, who's actually gone deep into the study of ley lines and has started to make some connections of structures within a site, but then also how sites connect to other sites in alignments of these ley lines, this ancient form of energy field lines or something, but he's becoming a bit of an expert in it, and I want to do a whole video about that because things are lining up and it's really fantastic. Now, at this site that I will definitely be returning to, we walked for a few hours in the bush, didn't see anything, we're about to turn around and go home. Then we come to this bluff, and at the top of this big cliff, we find this wonderful meandering, small, it was only 2 to 3 feet high, but very much intentioned artificial wall here that had this sort of followed the wavy curve of the natural cliff top, but then it just existed there, and it's so exciting to find something after walking 2 hours through total bush, and then you come across this human-made structure, and it's like finding treasure, frankly. And in this area, we found a bunch more cairns, some oval mounds, and then some built-up small constructions. And so it's definitely a site worth visiting. It felt really, really special, and I look forward to that. So I'll be bringing you a video about this site at some point in the new year, and also videos about ley lines with John, because that's getting really, really interesting. This was one of 30 different stone constructs. I'd never seen anything like this one. It looks like a donut shape because it's sort of hollow in the middle, as you can see. It's rounded. It's definitely some sort of a circle construct. But hollow in the middle. I mean, we know that the colonialist, the farmers would take from these piles. We're quite sure they didn't make these beautiful structures in the bush, but we know that we took from them. I can see in the structures of my house, my barn, they've used a bunch of stones, and I can see, unfortunately, from where they've taken from my beautiful serpent mound, and they've taken from another structure. But I'll be coming back to that site for sure to make a full video because it's quite extensive, and I actually have some LiDAR imagery about it. Next thing that happened is I met the most fascinating man I think I've ever met, and that's Peter Freuchen Tuanar. He had a very famous grandfather explorer. You've probably seen the iconic picture of him on the internet. But Peter is this incredible man who grew up in both worlds. He grew up in the north as an Eskimo, he calls himself, and he also was a member of Parliament to Canada twice in his life and was instrumental in the formation of Nunavut. So this man knows a lot about a lot of stuff in this field of things, and I was fortunate enough to meet him and have him up to La Touraine for 2 days of literally non-stop conversation about all things, but specifically what I showed him on my land. Here he is here.
And structures on there that I saw which rather astounded me.
He knew instantly that this was something very special.
There was no reason for the farmers of the area to make these structures whatsoever. They were too busy trying to feed their families. These structures are symbolic. They had perhaps a spiritual reason to be there. If they were not made by the Algonquins, and then the conclusion can be made that they were made by people before the Algonquins.
Another thing that happened this year that I completely forgot about was we had a story in print media here, the first one ever about the findings here on my land and in the region of West Quebec. And thank you so much to Madeline Kerr for writing such a balanced and in-depth piece about what she saw. I brought her around to all the sites, and she was clearly moved and fascinated by them. And what she saw there is reflected in a really nice, in-depth and balanced piece that came out in a local paper. Now, my next interest of last year, I would have to say it's become an obsession, is the things in between. So on my beautiful sacred mount, where they all surround, all the cairns and stone structures surround the entire thing, and one led me to another 5 years ago when I was really sure that there was something very important going on. The things that lie in between, I have come to find, and by peeling back layers of sod or, natural layers of earth and stuff, I'm finding these stone walls and pathways that circumvent the entire mountain. This is kilometers because there are two tiers, or it's either a spiraling stone ceremonial pathway that connects all of the great cairns structures on that one mountain on my land. And I find this to be the most compelling of all finds, because what we're seeing here is an organized effort, a feat of engineering that was organized, planned out, and would have taken a very large amount of people, a very long amount of time, with a colossal amount of stones if you add them all up. The weight of the collective amount of these stones that they brought here and built not only these massive structures with, but the infrastructure and terracing walls of these stone pathways that surround this entire, the circumference is about 1 kilometer, twice. Now you're starting to see this colossal organized effort, and I think it's perhaps the most important thing or find or realization of all of this that is going to point to a really interesting and complicated culture that went to great extents to build these amazing, like fully terraformed mountains. And I've seen hints of this in other sites I've found. These retaining walls are just incredible. So I've decided that I wanted to concentrate on making a really professional short film about this specific site. Because all of these walls have all but disappeared, right? There's only about 10% of them left, but they sprout up in different places all around the mountain. So you can see where they've collapsed, and you can see where they're still standing. You can see where the earth has swallowed them, absolutely. But this is what I want to document, to show that they did span the entire circumference a couple of times. So I've teamed up with a great guy and a super, super talented videographer, Brandon, who's going to help make that documentary about just this one specific site and the stone pathways and roadways that connect all of the big structures. We've already done a bunch of shoots, and we've got a couple more to do before we start editing it, and I'm going to have that to offer for you this year. It'll probably be about 40 minutes or so, and it's going to be really telling. Okay, last but not least, let's go. We got some canoeing to do. We got some hiking to do off of my land north for several miles. But check this. Look at this thing. Now this thing is gorgeous and peculiar and distinct in so many different ways. First of all, it's huge. Look at the size of these. Okay, I don't know where to start with this. Now for a bit of scale here, if I can thing is really, really quite large. I had no idea that this whole time my beautiful serpent mound with the big serpent head is looking directly into the setting sun at solstice. And it just reminded me that you really have to put your head into a headspace of such open-mindedness that anything is possible, that to be able to start gleaning information from such mysterious stuff. I think that's going to be my mantra for the coming year. Embrace the fantastical to reveal the truth, and I hope you all join me in that and all the videos that I'll be sharing this year. Thanks so much. I hope you like this, and share it if you want to try to show someone that there's mystery right around us. And yeah, just have a beautiful day. Live well, be good, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.
Fearfully when the mouth broke speech and the invitation was breaching what was always known, but it can't be told, cause we're all tied up with direction. I guess you're not really engaged, but a red curtain on a bare heart. It's just so hard to find the outside door.